Somewhere on the internet, there's a shop. It's open right now. It has shelves, search filters, star ratings, even customer support. And one of the things on the shelf, sorted by country and filed by account type, is you, your logins, your accounts. And you are not expensive. You've heard of the dark web, the haunted basement of the internet, where hackers in hoodies do terrible things in the dark. Everyone's heard of it. Almost nobody's seen it. Forget that picture. The dark web isn't a haunted house. It's a marketplace. Prices, star ratings, refund policies, customer service that answers faster than your banks. And its cheapest, most plentiful product is the thing you typed before breakfast this morning, your password. To understand how that can possibly be true, you need a map. So do something for me right now. Picture the internet as a city. The part of the city you already know is the daylight streets. Shops, plazas, billboards, noise. That's the surface web. Every page a search engine can walk to and put in its index. If Google can find it, it's on the street. But most of the city isn't street. It's buildings, locked ones. Your email inbox, your bank account, your medical records, your company's internal tools. Every photo you've ever backed up. None of it shows up in a search because you need a key to get in. That's the deep web. And despite the spooky name, it's not sinister. It's just everything behind a login. It's most of the city, and it's mostly boring. Your tax portal is technically the hidden internet. You live in these buildings. They're yours. Quick test of the map. Where does your online banking live? Not on the street. Google can't see your balance. It lives in a locked building, and you walk in with a key every single day without thinking about it. Hold on to that thought. Keys are the whole story here. And then there are the back alleys. A small tangle of streets with no signs, no cameras, and no directory. To walk them, you need special software that hides your face, and hides the shopkeeper's face too. Nobody knows who's buying. Nobody knows who's selling. Nobody even knows who's just passing through. That's the dark web. No search engine walks those streets, by design. Google has never seen them. There's no map and no listings. You have to already know the address of the door you're knocking on. And honestly, even the software part is mundane. It's a browser. It looks like any other browser. No green rain of code, no skull on the loading screen. The scary part of the dark web was never the technology. So how big is this hidden district really? You've probably seen the iceberg picture. The internet you know as a tiny tip, and underneath a vast criminal underworld 10 times the size. It's nonsense. Here's a real number instead. The main anonymity network sees roughly 2 million connections a day. 2 million, that's it. And researchers estimate that only about 7% of that traffic ever touches a hidden site at all. Everyone else is just browsing the normal web without being watched. Journalists protecting a source. People behind censorship walls, trying to reach real news. The dark web isn't a shadow continent. It's a couple of back alleys behind the bus station. So why the monstrous reputation? Because of what's on sale there. The alley is small. The shop is very real. Let's walk in. For years, one of the busiest storefronts in this night market was a site called Genesis Market. It's gone now, seized by the FBI in 2023, which is exactly why I can give you the tour, straight from the court records. And what those records describe is not a smoky den of hooded geniuses. It's an online shop that would feel weirdly familiar. The court records literally call it user-friendly. The FBI, describing a criminal marketplace, felt the need to complement the user experience. A search bar. Filters. You could browse stolen logins by country or by the type of account you wanted. Banking, email, social media, listings with prices, free updates. If a victim changed their password, the shop refreshed your purchase, like a software subscription. Even customer support, in case your stolen goods didn't work as advertised. The boring parts of e-commerce rebuilt around stolen identities. And because a scammed buyer can't exactly call the police, trust in the night market runs on the same thing it runs on everywhere else. Reviews, star ratings, seller reputations, built up sale after sale. The biggest of these markets ran 5-star rating systems that would look perfectly at home on any shopping app. Reputation, it turns out, matters most in places where nobody can trust anybody. And Genesis sold something worse than passwords. It sold being you. Each listing bundled a victim's logins with their device fingerprint, the small details that make your browser recognizably yours, and the session cookies that tell a website. This person already signed in, stop asking questions. Remember the stolen receipt trick from the last video? This is where those receipts end up. A buyer loads that package into their browser, and as far as your bank's fraud checks can tell, the buyer is you. Same face, same keys, no alarms. So what does being you cost? On Genesis, a complete hacked identity started at under $1. At the top end, a login to an online bank account with money in it runs $200 to $1,000 on today's markets. Almost everything else lands somewhere in between. For less than the cost of lunch, someone can buy a stranger's entire digital life. Why so cheap? Supply. Data breaches and password-stealing malware restock these shelves faster than anyone can buy them out. In the night market, you are not the jackpot. You are inventory. And every card on that shelf is a person who has no idea they're for sale. Now, who's shopping? Think back to part 2 of this series, the Uber breach. The attacker never cracked that contractor's password, never even tried. They walked into a shop exactly like this one and bought it off the shelf. That password cost the attacker almost nothing. It cost Uber a very bad month. Investigators have a name for shops like Genesis, initial access brokers. They sell the way in. Ransomware crews are regular customers. Your $2 login is somebody else's step 1 into an entire company. Which raises the obvious question. If everyone knows these shops exist, why doesn't someone just shut them down? They try, constantly. And it's not for lack of effort. The problem is the alley itself. To reach a dark website, your traffic travels like a package in an unmarked delivery van. A van that swaps its license plates at every single corner of the city. Each corner only knows the corner before it and the corner after it. Nobody, not the driver, not the shopkeeper, not a cop watching any one street, ever sees the whole route. Which means there's no address to raid and no customer list to seize. So takedowns take years, and police from a dozen countries working together. But sometimes they land. In the spring of 2023, an international operation seized Genesis. Its code name, really, was Operation Cookie Monster. The haul from that one shop, data from about 1.5 million infected computers, carrying more than 80 million stolen logins. Arrests followed around the world, and the recovered credentials went to a free public website so ordinary people could finally check whether they'd been sitting on the shelf. The year before, police had seized Hydra, the biggest darknet market ever recorded, with billions in turnover. It had been running openly for 7 straight years. These are real wins, real handcuffs. And yet, during the Genesis takedown, one of its mirror sites stayed up. Within months, the buyers had drifted to successor markets. Because you can raid a shop. It's much harder to raid an economy. And here's the part you might not expect. Nobody serious wants to demolish the alleys entirely. Those same anonymous streets are how whistleblowers reach reporters, and how people behind censorship walls reach the news. The network was originally designed by the United States Navy. The world's biggest newsrooms run anonymous tip lines on it. Tear down the alley, and you tear that down with it. So here's where we land. The market is disruptible. The economy is durable. And waiting for a raid to save you is not a plan. So here's the reframe. You will never defend against the dark web. You can't raid it. You can't sue it. And you can't take yourself off the shelf. If your password has leaked, it's already out there. There's no form to fill in, no number to call, no way to pull the card back off the shelf. What you can do is make the product worthless before it sells. Think about why a stolen password is worth buying at all. About 1 in 5 break-ins at real organizations starts with a stolen login. Not genius hacking, a bought key. And that key is only worth money because most of us use the same key everywhere. One purchase, many doors. Maybe you're thinking, who'd pay even $2 for my accounts? I'm nobody. But the buyer isn't shopping for you. They're shopping for whatever your key opens. Your saved cards, your work login, your inbox, which can reset the password to almost everything else you own. And they don't try your password once. Bots feed bot lists into every big login page on the internet, around the clock. So break that. Use a password manager and give every single account its own key. The manager remembers them, so you don't have to. Now a leaked password opens exactly one door, and you can change that lock in about a minute. Turn on passkeys for the accounts that matter most. A passkey can't be typed out, phished, or resold. It's a key that stops existing the moment it leaves your device. And check the shelf yourself. A free site called Have I Been Pwned tells you which of your logins have already leaked. It's the same site the FBI used to notify Genesis victims. So here's your homework tonight. Look up your email address there. It takes 30 seconds, and it turns, "Am I on the shelf?" from a vague fear into a plain fact. The dark web was never a myth, and it was never really a monster. It's a shop, and a shop only stocks what sells. You can't take yourself off the shelf, but you can make what they're selling worthless. If this changed what the words dark web mean to you, Part 1 is on screen. How attackers walk straight in through the forgot password door. Part 2 shows why the MFA wall fails anyway. See you in the next video.